Hi all, welcome to JS Frameworks channel. So today we will be taking a look at how we can create a web component using Angular. Earlier I had created a video in which we looked how we can create a web component using JavaScript. So if you have not seen it, please see it. We will be using many terminologies which we learned there here also. So it will be easier for correlating. So let's get started. For creating web components, Angular provides an inbuilt library called Angular Elements. So the first step which we need to do is we need to add Angular Elements as a dependency. So this can be done in two ways. Either we can directly add Angular Elements as a dependency in the package.json, or we can use the schematics ng add at Angular slash elements. So when we execute this, there is a inbuilt schematics used by Angular, which will automatically add Angular elements as a dependency in package and some more steps we can see. So the schematics has completed. So let's take a look at what are the changes that are incorporated. So if we look at the diff, we can see that they have added Angular elements as a dependency, and they have also added document register element, which is basically a polyfill which ensures that web components are supported in older browsers also. So it is added as a dependency, and also it is included in the polyfill.ts. So in case you are not using any old browsers for compatibility, you can safely remove this. So to make this Angular application run as a web component, so basically we need to make some changes to the code. So first we need to go to the app module. So here you can see it is a normal Angular application. So it has the bootstrap which will show the entry point for the Angular application. So actually for uh, web components we need not have this, so we can safely remove this, and we need to implement a lifecycle here. Implements do bootstrap, and we can implement the methods. So inside the ng do bootstrap method, we will be creating a custom element first. So for creating custom elements, Angular Elements provides an inbuilt method called create custom element, and this accepts two parameters. One is the Angular component, so we can provide the app component as the first input, and the second is a configuration. So we need to pass the injector, and since we need the injector, we need to use dependency injection. So I am creating injector here, and we can pass this into the method. So this create custom element returns a class which basically implements the HTML element interface. So we can use it here. So let's take a closer look at the create custom element method. So we will go to the Angular source code, and we can see that the create custom element method basically it creates a class. Here it is named as ng element implementation, and it extends the ng element, which is in turn an abstract class which extends the HTML element. So HTML element is the basic interface which we need to extend while creating custom elements. So within that we will have the attribute changed callback, the connected callback, and the disconnected callback, which all are methods which should be present within a custom element. So basically what the create custom element function does is it creates a bridge component between the JavaScript custom element and the Angular component. So that is what we get here as a custom element constant. Now we can use the inbuilt JavaScript API custom elements dot define, and inside that we can give whatever element we need to give, and we can pass this bridge as the second input, and that's it. We have successfully created our custom element and registered it with the DOM custom element registry. So the next step in creating a web component is providing encapsulation to our implementation. So it is quite easy using Angular. So we can create shadow DOMs. So this is how we do it. We can just provide the encapsulation method and provide it as view encapsulation shadow DOM. That's it. So our app component which we gave as the input to the custom element will be built within the shadow DOM. So the app component is a normal Angular component. So we will be able to add inputs and outputs to this component. So let's add a input, type any, and we'll also add an output. This is a new event emitter. Okay. So what the Angular element internally does is that they translate each of the inputs. Like suppose I have given the input name as app input, this will be translated as an attribute with the name app hyphen input, and the output will be translated to a custom event in the DOM. So like any normal Angular input, we will be able to track the changes using the normal on change lifecycle. So we will implement that here, and we will implement the method ng on changes. So in ng on changes, I am just putting a console log as of now. So we will just display the app input here so that we can know when this is getting triggered. So our web component is almost ready. So for display purpose, I have added some HTML and styles here. So now let's build our application. So I'll be running it in the production mode and with the output hashing as none, so that the webpack does not add its hash to the generated bundles. So the build has completed. Now let's go to the application, and I have created a dummy index.html page. So this is a plain HTML page. Now I am going to add the scripts which are generated as part of the build. So we need to add three script files, mainly the runtime.js, the polyfill, and the main.js. Now in the body, let me append our web component and see what happens. So you can see that our web component got rendered here, and this is our custom element, and inside that we have the shadow DOM, and the shadow root contains all our code. So let's see what happens when we add an attribute to it. So we had defined the attribute as app input. So let's give it a try. Let us add one more and give it as initial. We'll also add an ID which we'll be using later. So let's see what happens. You can see that the web component got rendered multiple times because we used it twice, and the on changes which we had placed the logs, so the log got displayed, and you can see that it got executed whenever we apply a value to the input attribute. So now let's see what will happen in case of an output event emitter. So let's go back to our application, and we will add some more code so that we will execute the event emitter. So I am going to implement the onInit lifecycle. So inside that we can add a event emitter output. So let's see. Set timeout. I am going to call app output dot emit, and I am going to send some data. Now let's build the application. In the meantime, we can go to the index.html and let's add a script tag and add code so that we can listen to the output event emitted. So we will get the element app1 and we will add an event listener. So the event was app output, and let us add a callback. We'll add a log, console.log. So since the event is a custom event, the data which we receive from the output will be in the detail flag, the detail property of the event. So let's see what happens. So the application has completely built. Now let's refresh the application. So you can see that the event emitter got executed and the output is getting displayed as expected. Another feature that is supported in web components is the slot element. So slot is nothing but we can add contents inside this. So I am giving something like outside world here. So this text would be shown with the appropriate styles instead of the default text which we have provided inside the web component. So that's the main application of using a slot. So slot is something similar to the content projection which is available in Angular. So for content projection we have the lifecycle hooks like ng after content init and ng after content check. So here we don't have such life cycles, but we can make use of a HTML event. So I can show you that there is an event called slot change, and I am binding to that event. So I will define this method here. So in this method we will get the event, and we can get hold of the inner component which is present in the slot. So I am typecasting it as an HTML slot element. So using the assign nodes method, I'll be able to get hold of the uh, elements which are present inside the slot, which are being passed from the uh, called place. So if I will add a check whether it is empty or not, and if it is non empty, I will add a log here. I will just display the first element here. So let's build the application, and in the meantime we can go and modify the, yeah, we have already modified the index.html. The application has been built, and let's go and see what happens. So the change has got reflected in the UI. So whatever it passed inside the slot, it has been rendered here. Now let's see the console. So you can see the content of the slot has been logged in the console. So we have successfully created a web component using Angular. Hope the video was informative. Please don't forget to subscribe. See you soon. Thank you.